Darkness hides the most unimaginable and mysterious creatures, and you never know what lurks down there in deep caves and tunnels. From gigantic beings to aliens and hominids, there are wonders and horrors that humans can't see. Get ready to join us as we explore the world of the unseen. In Japan, there are these creepy old World War II tunnels that people say are haunted by soldiers from the past. During a radiation leak testing, a person sneaked into one of the tunnels, and as soon as he stepped in, strange things started happening. At first, he heard voices whispering around him, and then, after some time, he saw a ghost of a man in the distance. The ghost stopped and looked at him for a few seconds before vanishing into the air, and the man was terrified to the core, not knowing what just happened with him. Otherworldly cryptid. A shadowy figure suddenly appeared right in front of a group of explorers in an abandoned mine shaft, and it was unlike anything they'd ever seen before. A skinwalker? An alien? Or a humanoid? No one knows what this scary creature was, and the explorers were frozen in fear. Yeah, we would be too if we saw a creature this creepy and frightening silently snooping on us. It was extremely tall and thin, and had no proper face or body. Some legends say it could be a skinwalker, but that's just speculation. Caught red-headed. If you ever think that this world only belongs to humans, then watch out. You are wrong, because creatures like this live underground, in places you've never seen before. And they might come out for you at any moment. This redhead demon was found hiding in the dark as if it came straight out of hell. The thing to worry about is that it looked angry too, like it's waiting for the right time to come when it can get its new prey. Smiling shadow. Just like the walls have ears, the trees have faces. Now, rather on them or in them, that's up to personal experiences. A person claimed that he saw a mythical creature, a goblin, inside this tree, and it stayed there staring back at him for a long time. If you look closely, you may see a strange face smiling at you from your screens, though it's too dark and hard to see, but it's right there in the trunk, silently looking at you. Threat to humans. It's all fun and games when you see a person wearing a costume like this in a Halloween party, but things get crazy when you actually spot a real one out there in the dugouts. This isn't a person with bear clothes on, but a giant creature that was seen in Nusantara, Indonesia. People who found it immediately started saying prayers, while this monster kept looking aggressively at their faces. Scary enough, the distance between them wasn't much either, which was alarming for them. Before things got worse, they left the place and then reported the whole incident to authorities. Sadly, no major action was taken, and people say that this monster still lurks there in the dark. Mountain's guard.
Thing's kind of creepy.
If you're someone who lives in Oregon and saw a giant monster appearing out of stone doors and caves, no, you are not hallucinating. It really happened. This gigantic beast lives somewhere in the Quartzville Giant Cave and comes out to peek around sometimes. You must have seen it.
It's like a person's silhouette up in them clouds.
If you give it a general look, it seems like a man standing above the high rocks and enjoying the weather, but it's nothing like that. This giant is huge in size, almost triple the size of an average man, and keeps guarding the mountains as if they are its home.
I'm sorry. If it was your mountain, I'm sorry I broke it.
Yeti in search. A giant was seen in Poland walking behind massive mountain rocks and searching for something between them. Well, most possibly a snack because it's so big that one knows for sure that it gets hungry quite often. It looks huge on camera from far, far away, so we can imagine how mighty that must be in real life, if seen from somewhere close enough. To me, it looks 7 foot tall, roughly weighing about God knows how many countless pounds that would be enough to crush us all down in no time. This big buddy needs to stay exactly where it is, because we're not ready to have it anywhere near us for now. Living branch. Some guys from Indonesia went on an exploration at night when something mysterious near the water dam caught their attention.
Holy shit! Kan bener kan?
It started from strange noises, and then a ghastly big creature emerged from one side of the small bridge. Looked like a fallen tree branch at first, but it was actually moving. Not only was it alive, but it also had large arms and a hairy head. If you're thinking about what it was a swamp monster. The guys were shocked and afraid, while the monster slowly encroached on them and wanted to have an interaction. Here's another angle. Look how it spreaded its arm ahead, as if it had something to tell them. Rare breed. If you're seeing this, you might be thinking that it's nothing real, but just a man wearing a bear costume. But you'll be surprised to know that there are many people who disagree with you. They identify this creature as the cave-8 giant. And have speculated that it lives deep inside tunnels and can rarely be seen or found. Let's be glad that it's rare, because if a creature like this becomes normal and starts living casually outside, we would be shaking with fear and would be afraid to leave our houses. Beastly remains.
There's our giant human being.
A few years back in Thailand, a man discovered a skeleton, and it wasn't any ordinary one belonging to a human or an animal. It wasn't any ancient mummy either. Shockingly, it belonged to a giant. The bones, the skull, arms and legs, the massive chest, all were so huge that it was quite clear that it could be anything but not a human.
Try and put myself here for reference. It actually looks pretty cool.
And another thing suspicious about it was its unusual structure. It had strange long bones that were wrapped around its thighs and went all the way up to the shoulders. Yeah, that's messed up.
But you can see where it was made out of concrete and it's fractured.
Frozone.
Then we have the face of Cyclops.
This Cyclops cave located in Wales is said to be one of the world's most mysterious places. Tourists believe that it's full of art. There are human face sculptures. There's a headless man too, and other statues carved between the walls. And everything is just too classic about it.
Some kind of sculpture.
But little do they know that there's a whole different history behind it. Locals believe that the statues in the cave are not at all artificially built, but instead are the real petrified giants that existed centuries and centuries back. It's said that they got cursed by a witch, after which they became still, motionless beings.
I'm presuming that's it's got like angel wings on it. I don't know what it is, to be honest.
Rocky trap. It's not only humans who get trapped in caves, the aliens do too. As weird as it sounds, people actually spotted an alien caught between large rocks inside a cave. Now, some of you must still be stuck on, no, the aliens don't exist, and what's this odd creature? But all I'm thinking about is, how the heck did it get there? Whether it's a monster or an alien or a cryptid, it has a big skull, and that cannot easily go inside such a small opening. But since we're talking about an otherworldly creature, it must have found its way. The blue-eyed. People often stumble upon giants, aliens, and mysterious things lurking underground, but some encounters are so bizarre that they literally leave you creeped out. For instance, look at this black odd thing with huge blue eyes that hid itself under the tunnel to escape from being seen by the humans. It seemed like a shapeshifter alien from a Marvel universe, and something totally out of this world. The scary thing is that it wasn't even caught, so it's still somewhere in the same place. And whatever it is, it not only looks wild, but dangerous too. Thing in cave. Just another day and another creature to creep us out. As we thought that giants are now a thing of the past, nature shattered our delusions by giving us a reality check that, no, they are still here. This strange giant-like thing was found in an immense stone chamber and shook the whole world with its mysterious appearance. The residents said that it was a four-legged animal with pointed antlers, but some of the locals are not convinced by this theory. It looks more like a cave giant, or a human-animal hybrid to them, and they are the demanding forces to search this cave and find out more about this creature. Ice monster. Somewhere in the Australian mountains, people spotted a giant creature trying to climb up the walls of a cave.
Someone climbing up the wall. It's an ice man. It's a ghost. Jesus, what is that?
From a distance, it looked like a normal person scaling the rocks, and people were confused. When they paid more attention and went a little closer, they realized that it was a giant monster, or maybe even a ghost, but definitely not a human. After all, no human being can crawl up the rocky walls like this, and that too, without any support.
Do you see that? Oh my God. It's climbing up the wall.
Racing ghost. Imagine you're exploring a dark, gloomy cave with just one flashlight in hand, and then suddenly you hear a rustling sound of a creature creeping on you. Now, that's exactly what happened with this person who went to explore a cave but was stuck in a cat and mouse race with an unseen creature. He saw something monstrous, something like an evil spirit, running from one end of the cave to another and started following it. But before he could get closer to it, the creature disappeared somewhere and was never seen again. Cave shadow. This group embarked on a journey to explore the darkest and spookiest cave they heard about, and knew that they would come across weird animals, giant lizards, and lots of crawling insects on the way. But what they didn't know was that there's something supernatural waiting for them down there as well. As they went deeper into the cave, a ghastly spirit raised its head up to greet them. It couldn't be seen as it was too dark, but even the slightest sight of it was enough to spook them all out. Faceless human. A cave is a home for ghosts and spirits, and the kind of place where you definitely bump into something creepy and mysterious. Just like these friends who were exploring a dark, decades and decades old cave and trying to make memories that they'd remember for ages to come. And yes, they just got one. As they took their steps deeper into the muddy passage, an eerie, scary ghost came right in front of them, all the way floating in the air, and they were all left gasping for air. This encounter was not only full of horror, but was unsafe as well. We'll know what these spirits can do. Mythical surprise. Dogman exists out of the myths and movies as well, and it's somewhere near us. It may not be seen or heard or caught, but it's right here. Maybe you'd see it if you wandered around in the dark tunnels, just like this man did. He was roaming around in caves, and never in his wildest dreams did he think he would run into a scary and frightening Dogman. Or a cryptid, call it whatever you want. Once the terrifying creature showed up, the man was baffled and horrified. Apes and bones. A group of men went to the Indonesian woods searching for an extinct owl, but found something else that they never expected. a giant monster that looked like a female Sasquatch came out of the cave. It stood still for a few minutes and kept looking at the outsiders who invaded its home. Rumors said that this giant kept wandering in the woods for a long time and was seen by many others as well. Years after this encounter, investigators revisited the place and found hobbit bones near the cave. This left people worrying because what if these human apes find their way to the cities?
Era una subespecie de macaco con una variación en la coloración y bipedation secundaria.
Lizardous thing. It's not just us who are exploring nature. This odd buddy is on the same mission too. While people were searching the cave and making videos of the muddy and stony paths, this giant lizard, well, not really a lizard, but something more like a human reptile, sneaked out of its hole and started coming towards them. Experts couldn't understand what this strange creature was and stopped looking into the matter. And honestly, we don't want to find out anything more about it either. It's just too creepy and scary to see. Mysterious creature. At this point, I've started to believe that anyone who says there's no parallel world in this universe has clearly never been into caves and tunnels, because guess what? They're filled with the most outworldly creatures, like this alien with long, thin arms like wires and cords, which was found in a cave and became a topic of discussion for people in the town. A few said that the video looks fake, and a few reported that it's real, and they have seen it too. Dizzy Buddy. Have you ever seen a smiling humanoid that's just too curious to know what's happening around it? If no, then you might want to see this one. This weird tiny thing slid out of its dugout and looked around eagerly to find what was up. Maybe it heard human noises and suspected that there was a great threat nearby. Or maybe it just woke up from a sound sleep and was trying to make sense of things around it. People had their own theories regarding what this creature was. Some say that it was a humanoid, while others think it's an alien. Extraterrestrial ride. Speaking of spooky stuff, you can brush off one alien video as fake, you can reject another and maybe another again. But seriously, how many times are you going to ignore the mountain of footage and sightings flooding the internet? Maybe it's high time that we start accepting that aliens are real and wait until you see this new clip featuring a mummy alien. Yeah, it's bizarre, and I can see that this extraterrestrial ride is getting wilder. We're all equally amazed. Hide and seek. A humanoid cryptid was seen by a person in a sewer, and it looked like it was just standing there on purpose, hiding behind the wall and waiting for someone to walk by. Because as soon as the man got close, it slowly tilted its head to the side and tried to freak him out. This is so unsettling to see without a doubt, and we've no idea what these creatures are or where they came from. But they sure know how to creep people out. It's like they get some sort of pleasure or happiness in teasing the poor people. And it's scary to think what else they're capable of doing. Caught in fear. A group of grave robbers who were raiding Nazca Cave in Peru accidentally ran into an unidentified blue alien. It's clearly not the loot they were expecting. The blue, massively tall alien lay there on the floor, scaring the robbers, and it even moved its arms in a slight motion, as if it was trying to tell them that it was alive. Obviously, they were all startled and felt in danger, so they thought that leaving the place was a better option. Tall hominid. Mexican authorities captured a strange giant creature, like a hominid in the mountain cave, and stated that it was the tallest one ever seen in Mexico. Crawled out of the hole it was hiding in and then went back inside after staring at everyone for a few minutes. The whole thing was just so strange and eerie that people could not stop thinking about it. What was this giant creature? How did it get in there and manage to survive for all these years? And what if it's dangerous and a threat for all the nearby residents? There were so many questions asked, but not even a single one was answered. Cold-eyed. Something gigantic, extremely unsettling, and spooky was seen in this tunnel, quietly standing on one side. It was so huge and black and had white, round eyes. And the scary thing was that it not only looked wild and dangerous, it was acting vicious too. The way it coldly made eye contact with the people who recorded it almost seemed like it was all ready to have them all for its dinner. Well, let's be glad that nothing as such happened. It's hard to identify what it could be, but maybe, just maybe, it's a Sasquatch. Caught in cam.
What the?
These two friends were enjoying their time in a tunnel, making funny videos and laughing things off. But they didn't know that things were about to take a wild turn. Just as one of them took the camera out to record while the other was trying to fix his torch, he noticed a ghastly spirit standing right behind him. That must be so terrifying. The alien-like ghost stood very close to them, and if they didn't turn on the phone's flashlight, they wouldn't have ever known that something supernatural was accompanying them. The boys were petrified, and their laughter turned into screams.
Anything? What the?
Hairy head. Creepy little eyes and a head full of hair like thick thread. This cryptid was found checking people out from its narrow hole in the cave, and we just got lucky that a man recorded it for us to see. Well, you must be thinking what that is. I'm wondering that there are so many holes in the cave, and what if each one has a cryptid like this in it? I know that it sounds crazy and it must be funny for you, but what if it's true? Do you still doubt that nature can be that evil? Flying thing.
I like to think at this point about evolution, because evolution dictates to us.
A few months back, this video of a ghost floating around the lit fire inside a tunnel flooded the internet, and people couldn't stop talking about it. Some of them said that there's no ghost and it's just a lens flare, but there are others who have a different opinion about it. They say that ghosts come in all shapes and sizes and can take any form. Had it been a lens flare, it wouldn't be so obvious and clear, because these tiny things look like it has wings and it's flying around on purpose.
Especially things like light. So we have our electric lights in these days.
Tunnel escape.
Hello?
What a horror would that be if people start seeing skinwalkers living around as casually as they do, and the world is moving in such a bizarre direction that it might happen soon as well. Skinwalkers were spotted in a tunnel by a man who just wanted to have a good day exploring Mother Nature. Though Mother Nature had a different surprise for him. As soon as he caught the sight of these spooky creatures, he gave up another further and escaped the tunnel right away. Dancing friend. Dude, what the f? This weird guy, dressed in what looks like a black shroud, was found dancing in the open like he was lost in another world. His moves were disturbing, and it looked like he was performing some kind of ghostly ritual. And interestingly, the worst thing was that he was wearing a mask too that added an extra layer of creepiness to the whole situation. Just as an explorer reached his camera to record this strange moment, the strange dancing buddy instantly stopped, and after looking at the man angrily, he vanished into the shadows. Isn't that so weird? Let us know what you think about it. Ghastly encounter. In this dark, narrow tunnel, where there's hardly any place for two people to stand side by side, a man captured a ghost crawling on its knees towards the stairs. In the start, it looked like the ghost was coming in his direction, but luckily it wasn't. From appearance, it totally looked like a human, but come on. Anyways, we all can admit that this person must be so brave that he saw it just a few steps away from him and dared to follow it instead of screaming his lungs out. Because if anything like that happened to us, we would have been running for our lives. The artifacts. Somewhere in Mayan caves in Mexico, different UFO remains and alien artifacts were discovered, and locals speculated that it might be an alien base hidden deep underground. It had strange mud statues and objects that clearly were related to them, and it seemed like it was a hub of extraterrestrial beings. However, when I researched, it seems these were once used as places for sacred rituals and practices, and things that appeared to be aliens to us were actually the sculptures of divinity. Certain caves were considered to be the holiest for ancient Maya, and it is believed that ancient gods resided in them too, and these caves are one of them. Water fight. If you're someone who loves swimming around in water and boating whenever you get a chance, here's something that would scare you for life. This scary, out-of-this-world creature emerged somewhere from the tunnel and started chasing water tubers as fast as he could. It drifted so fast towards them that they couldn't even get a chance to understand what on earth was going on. People say that it was a cryptid, and yes, it looked like one, and it was so frightening to see how eager it was to catch its prey. Let's hope they're all fine and somehow manage to survive in this cryptid versus human water fight. Hanging head.
So that's not creepy. Found this at the entrance of this cave.
A freaky animal skull that looked like it belonged to some sort of a horse was found in the middle of absolute nowhere, and it puzzled and confused everyone. It couldn't be a horse as it had 2 long antlers as well on its head, and no matter how hard they tried, people couldn't understand what it was. Rumors say that satanic rituals in the old times were performed in dark caves, and heads like this were placed on the entrance. So, maybe this was just another creature sacrificed back then for those customs. Or maybe it was a mythical creature that we read about in books. Man versus bear.
Filming of Sasquatches in another area where he's worked on.
It's wild how our curiosity about nature can lead us to some seriously strange discoveries. I mean, most of us love exploring things, but when you start encountering creatures that look like they've stepped out of a horror movie, it's a whole different story. Take this as an example. A group of men came across this bizarre creature that was like a cross between a bear and something straight out of a nightmare. It had these huge, sad eyes that seemed to be questioning everything around it. The men couldn't help but feel a chill run down their spines as they watched it, wondering what this unsettling beast was up to. Haunting sight. A person who went for a walk in the woods immediately stopped when he caught the glimpse of something that made his heart race. Far behind the bushes, there it was. A spooky, unidentified creature with an empty skull and 2 enormous hollow eyes. It seemed to be staring right through him, and the mysterious silence of the jungle only added more vibe to the unsettling scene. Was it an alien or a hominid? No one could say for sure, but that haunting sight kept lingering in the minds of those poor people who saw it and were so scared that they could sleep for days and days. Unreal lady. Visiting an abandoned cave is a dangerous idea to begin with, and if you decide to visit in the middle of a night, you're definitely cooked. This man was feeling super relaxed and chill, thinking that a late night hike would be fun. But he got the biggest shock of his life when a woman's ghost suddenly appeared to join him. She had her head tilted and seemed to pop out from behind a big boulder, making it a memory for him that he'd never ever forget. People think that maybe it was just a prank, but who cares what it was? It just gave him a high fever for the next few days. Demon's curse. Be very, very careful, it's looking at you. According to legends, this freakish giant face that you might think is a statue probably isn't really a statue. It's a cursed frozen monster, and you'll be shocked to the core when I tell you that it's forbidden to look into its eyes. It's believed that this giant peeps out from the most unexpected and ordinary places, and people end up looking at it. And when they do, they get cursed, and paranormal things start happening around them. And sadly, some can even lose their lives. So the next time you see it anywhere, get out of that place as fast as you can. On a walk. Some years back, a giant was seen coming out of its cave and taking a long walk in the barren fields of this anonymous place. Some people refused to believe that it was a giant or a Sasquatch right away, and thought that it was just a made-up fake video to get hype. But it is extremely sad for those who saw this creature with their eyes, because no matter how much proof they give that things like this exist, others wouldn't believe them until it's too late. Eye Beast. Sometimes the most extraordinary things are found accidentally in the most unimagined places. Just like this. This mischievous eye glared at the man as he turned his torch towards it. Unable to identify what it was, the man was totally baffled. Could that be a cat? Cats mostly have eyes like that, and even if it's not, let's suppose it is, because we're already enough freaked out and don't want new things. Silent resident. A great giant sneaked out of an underground tunnel and was unaware that it was not alone there. As long as it kept sitting down, it looked not so large or scary enough to frighten the life out of the person looking at it. But soon when it stood up, the whole game changed. It was a Bigfoot and looked so powerful that it could easily pull the tree off from its roots if it wanted to. Happy news, it didn't, or just imagine how horrible that would have been. The concerning thing is that people have seen so many of them around now that they've started taking it as something normal. And the same happened with this one too. It went unreported. Open discussion. There were wild stories and rumors going around about a strange creature living in this huge cave, and it was said that it looked like a cave demon. People got super curious after hearing about it and decided to check it out for themselves. They thought they'd possibly only find a reptile or any other weird animal. But when they actually got there, they were blown away. Instead of any animal, they were welcomed by a very strange and eerie creature that looked like it came straight from outer space. It had huge blue eyes and an oval head, just like an alien. And it popped its face out to say hello to the visitors, after which they all ran away. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.